Yo, what up guys, I'm Sammy and welcome back to the Soul Brothers channel, and today we're going to be doing a versus video between the Nike Lebron 20 and the Nike KD 15. So as far as the price difference goes, there is a pretty big difference in price. You know, the KDs are going for like 150 to 160 bucks depending on the colorway, which is weird, and the Lebrons are going for a whopping 200 bucks. So the Lebrons are the most expensive shoe that Nike produces, right? So if you guys do want to cop either of these shoes, I try to leave an affiliate link in the description box. But let's get started off with the Tracciones, and both of these are freaking amazing, top tier bites. You cannot go wrong with either of these shoes. So if you're playing on a clean court, you're gonna be good to go. I mean, amazing bite, you stop on a dime, and they both have a very loud, high-pitched squeak, which I like. Of course, that has nothing to do with performance, but you know, I like to have a little bit of squeak, right? If you're playing on a dusty court, both of these are really good as well. They both pick up very minimal dust, and if it does pick up dust, it's a very easy wipe as well. You just go, boom, you're good to go. Boom, you're good to go on both of the shoes. So it has very good performance on dust for both of these shoes. And if you're playing on an outdoor court, however, I feel like they're around the same. The grooves are pretty thin, and also I guess the grooves are kind of deep though, right? But the rubber's kind of on the softer side of things, so probably not the best option for an outdoor shoe, especially since these are, you know, pretty damn expensive, right? So yeah, I mean, I would pretty much tie it up. If I were to nitpick though, maybe the Lebron 20 has just a tiny bit better bite on a clean court, just a tiny bit. But for the most part, I would tie it up. They're both top tier tractions, and I love playing in both of these shoes because of the amazing traction, right? All right, moving on to the heel to toe transition. Also, they're both really nice, right? So here in the heel, I mean, we got full length cushion here in the Lebrons as well as in the KDs, right? However, the KDs are a little bit caged, which is fine, you know. But yeah, we have nice compression here in the heel for both of the shoes. It's very smooth in the heel, and then in the forefoot we have a nice curve shape in both of the shoes as well, right? And nice forefoot flex, right? Same thing here in the Lebrons. The Lebrons are a little bit more stiff actually, but it still has a nice bit of flex. Also, we have a carbon fiber midfoot shank plate for the Lebrons, which is a nice premium touch. The KDs is just plastic, and also it's hollowed out to reduce weight. So overall, they both feel very smooth for heel to toe transition. I really had no issues with it feeling clunky or boot-like or anything like that. And now moving on to the cushioning setup. So of course, cushion is pretty subjective, right? They're both very nice for cushion, so it all depends on what you want, right? So for the Lebrons, we have full length cushion on, or like I mentioned before, we have full length cushion on for both of the shoes, but the Lebron 20s feel a little bit softer, or actually a good amount softer, because it feels a little bit thicker actually, and it's like a little bit less caged, right? There's less caging here in the back of the shoe, right, as opposed to the KDs. I don't know what it is, but it just feels softer. And especially at first for the Lebrons, like for me, there was a little too much compression. It felt a little mushy, which I didn't like, but of course, Cushlon does bottom out pretty quickly. So now I like it because it's a little bit stiffer, but it's still really soft, right? The Lebron 20 is still definitely softer than the KD 15s in the heel. Court feel, they're both pretty good, not amazing for court feel, you know, comparing it to shoes that have really amazing court feel like the Hardens, but it still has pretty good court feel. I don't really mind it at all, especially comparing to the old Lebrons, right? Like the 19, 18, those are really bad, right? The Lebron 20 definitely is an improvement. So I would tie it up for court feel pretty much the same, but of course the zoom unit is what's pretty different, right? So the Lebron 20 has two zoom units, a very large volume zoom unit here in the forefoot. It's a zoom turbo unit. It's pretty much covering the entire forefoot, and that feels nice. It's a lot more subtle, of course, than the KDs. Also here in the heel, we have a very large volume zoom unit as well, but it's bottom loaded, so that feels nice as well. The KD 15s, we have a full length zoom strobo unit, which is crazy. So if you want a lot of bounce, especially right underneath your foot, then get the KDs, right? But of course, for me personally, the full length zoom strobo unit is a little too crazy for me at times, right? It's just, sometimes I really like it, and sometimes it's just like, I kind of want to play in something a little bit more responsive, right? For the Lebrons, it just felt like a more everyday cushioning setup for me, right? So if you want something crazy, like full length zoom strobo, then go with the KDs. If you want something a little bit more mellow, but it's still pretty crazy, then go with the Lebrons. Just be careful of the heel, right? It definitely is a little soft, especially at the beginning, so you definitely have to kind of like break it in. But in my personal opinion, I do like the Lebron 20 better. All right, moving on to the materials. So definitely the Lebron 20, it actually both of these shoes have pretty crappy quality materials for the price, right? So we have this like knit mesh material, which is what they're calling it. And then here in the KDs, we have a mesh material, which is like, they usually use mesh on like $100 shoes, you know what I mean? But as far as like what feels softer, the KDs feel a little bit softer, right? Just a tiny bit. The LeBron 20 feels a little bit more supportive, right? But it's still really soft. As far as the thickness goes, they're both around the same, super thin, both conform to your foot very, very well. So yeah, they both feel really nice on foot, but not the best for quality. But if I had to nitpick, I feel like the LeBron 20 feels a little bit better for quality. Of course, the LeBrons are $40 more expensive, right? So there's that. Here in the midfoot, there's pretty much nothing in the LeBrons. And then for the KDs, we have this plastic cage on the lateral and medial sides of the shoe. And then here for the tongue, I would say the KDs feel a little bit more plush. You know, that feels nice on top of your foot. The LeBrons are a lot more minimal actually. And then here in the ankle area, they both feel very nice. The LeBrons actually, it feels like a memory foam type of material, which feels great. The KDs, I would say it's just as thick as far as the foam goes, but it doesn't feel as nice because it's like a traditional kind of foam that they're using, right? The LeBrons feel a little bit more plush because of this memory foam type of material, right? So yeah, definitely the LeBrons, if I was to nitpick, it feels a little bit better on foot, but for the most part, it feels very similar as far as the overall feel of the upper goes on foot. And as far as the quality goes, the LeBrons are also a tiny bit better. Alright, moving on to the fit. I went true to size for both of these shoes, and they both fit me very well, but the LeBrons are a little short. So if you don't want that, then probably go up half a size, right? Also, the KDs are a little bit more narrow, just a tiny bit more narrow, like at the edge of the shoe here. The LeBrons are still narrow, but not as narrow as the KDs. And also here in the toe box, they're both quite snug, which I like. So pretty much very snug fit for me, and they both fit me like a glove. So I would tie it up for the fit. If you have a wide foot or you want to room your fit here in the toe box, I would suggest going up half a size, or maybe a full size for the LeBrons, right? All right, moving on to the support and lockdown. So for lateral containment, they're both freaking amazing. So the LeBrons, we have this guardrail. I mean, it's not coming up that much as far as like it acting like a sidewall, but this material is overall supportive. Here in the midfoot, we have the double swoosh, right? This definitely does stiffen up this material. And then here in the heel, we have an internal TPU heel counter and the foam coming up. So lateral containment in the LeBrons is really, really good. I had no issues with my foot like sliding out of the footbed. And same thing here in the KDs, right? The KDs, the foam comes up here in the forefoot. We have the cage, right? This plastic cage, and especially if you tighten the laces, it kind of tightens over your foot as well, which feels nice. And then here in the heel, we have the plastic cage and also an internal heel counter. So lateral containment for the KD15 was good as well. So I would pretty much tie it up for lateral containment. They're both amazing. No matter how heavy you are, if you're doing very shifty moves, lateral movements, cuts and stuff like that, you're gonna be good to go in both of these shoes. As far as lateral stability goes, they're both good as well. I wonder which shoe is wider. They're both probably around the same. Ooh, the LeBrons look like it's a little bit wider, just a tiny bit, by like what, 5 millimeters or something. But the KDs are still good. You know, I had no issues with lateral instability with either of them. But of course, as far as lockdown goes, here in the heel, the KDs are worse, right? So here in the LeBrons, I had zero issues with heel slippage. My heel was locked down. I had no issues. But here in the KDs, for me personally, it wasn't terrible, right? I could definitely deal with it, but my heel was going up and down just a tiny bit in the shoe. I definitely do know people where it was really bad. Like some people that I was talking to, they were like, I can't play in it because it was like just my foot was not contained at all. And also some of my friends said that like the shoe actually came off, right? Which is really bad. And also I had some friends where they're like me, it wasn't a huge issue and they could deal with it, right? So of course, my recommendation would be if you can, try on the KDs, and if you feel a little bit of heel slippage, then probably go with the LeBrons. But if you don't feel it as bad, then you should be fine in the KDs, right? So yeah, pretty much support and lockdown, they're both really good. Besides the heel slippage, the LeBrons are better. All right, moving on to the weight of the shoe. I actually feel like the LeBrons are gonna be lighter, which is kind of crazy, right? So the LeBrons are 12.84 and the KDs are 12.073. Oh, it's a tiny bit lighter for the KDs, but pretty much the same exact weight. I don't know why it feels a little bit heavier. Interesting. But yeah, I mean, they both feel very similar on foot. Like I said, like the upper feels very, very similar. The cushion is probably like the biggest thing that I would say is is a deciding factor in what you would want in either of these shoes. So take into consideration your preferences on cushion and pick accordingly, right? Also, the traction in both of them is amazing. So very responsive. I feel very quick when I'm playing both of the shoes. So there's the weight there. Moving on to the aesthetics, LeBron's all the way. I love the LeBron 20 silhouette. It's just a super simple shoe, and just the double swoosh, it just looks great. Now all the colorways that are coming out, the breads, the one with the pink outsole, like the translucent pink outsole, looks amazing as well. The KDs look pretty good, but I definitely feel like most people will say the LeBron 20. So tell us what you guys think looks better down in the comment section below. So wrapping things up, right? So if you're looking to save money, definitely get the KDs, right? The KDs are an amazing shoe, but there's two things, right? Of course, like I said, the heel slippage. So if you can try it on, then definitely try it on and see if you have that. And also the full length zoom strobe unit. I do know some people that, like me, don't like it like on some days, and I definitely do know some people that love zoom strobe like all the time. So it all depends. You know, if you like that, then obviously go with the KDs. LeBron's of course is more expensive, but I would say it's the better overall shoe as well. There's no heel slippage, and I do like the cushioning setup better in my personal opinion. So for me, I would pick the LeBron 20s. I think it performs better, although the KD 15 is still a top tier performer. So anyways, that about concludes this versus video. Again, if you guys do want to cop either of these shoes, I'll try to leave the affiliate link in the description box, but that's it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.